Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in. Today is very special. As you can see, we're doing something a little different because I will be sharing my new model. I was gonna say the full name of the model. It is the Prism customizable model. I'm so excited to show you guys this. This has literally been my dream art model, I guess you could say. I do have a lot of artists that if I wanted to do a custom model, I have a dream artist, but honestly, Akizone has been added to that list. This model is so gorgeous, so amazing, and there's so many customizable options, and they are still adding. I have been looking at their updates that they say are gonna come in December, and I actually cannot wait. It is going to be like Christmas, getting to play with all those different clothing pieces. Now, fingers crossed, I am testing out some things today because I have never had a model with this many parameters, this many masks. It's what they call it's like the different layers, and I'm hoping it will work because I play some games like Time Stranger and that are very intensive, Time Stranger, and sometimes I worry that it may or may not work, Time Stranger. Oh, wait, let me check something really quick before I start this today. Oh, okay, it is working. Oh, good, thank goodness. Okay. So I had to just make sure that something was working. We are going to start this thing. This is my first like traditional model review, and I'm super excited to show you guys this. So let's start out from the top. You can see, oh, you see that it's the shoes. Now, one thing I will say, and this is not too a negative at all, but the shoes are not as many as I expected. Now, they do have quite a few variations, and I do love this one. Oh, that one pulled a little further down than I wanted. There's quite a bit of bounce to this. It's just gonna happen. But I do love these. I know. It's great. It's great. As you can see, they are blue. I did try to make the shoes a different color, but it's like, I don't know if it's because I'm still playing around with it, but I do like these. I do like these. We can pull down a little bit more, just zoom out a little. So, oh my gosh. They are stockings. It's so cute. I'm honestly so obsessed. Hold on, let me. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure it still moved and looked okay because I recorded, I tested, but it's always gonna be a little different when you start streaming because that does put more on your CPU. Really hoping Time Stranger will work. A little bit more. I'm gonna give you guys this skirt. Is it not so cute? I do have other outfit variations, but I'm very obsessed with like the flowiness of this skirt, and I do love the asymmetric hem. Oh my gosh, there's so many things to show. So many things to show. A little bit more. We got a top. Now I did try to I really like the style of my previous model, so I did try to like make a similar style, but my version, if that makes sense. So you will see some nods to the old model because it really served me well. I still love that model. And I will say, this is not a negative, but that model had a lot of great lean physics. I've been a little spoiled. I still have to figure out how to adjust some of the parameters on this one to get better lean physics. But I also think that it just won't lean as far as I would like, and that's okay too. That's okay too. Now we're finally going to show the face. Hi, hellos. Oh my gosh. And as you can see, still have that classic ponytail. There is a bit of delay. I can tell. Ma'ams. Okay. I'm gonna have to figure out and test out some things for Time Stranger and some of the games because there is another game I play, Fantasy Life, that is also very intensive. And I am really hoping that they will run with this model. There's a little bit of delay. Hello, welcome in. As you can see, this is me. And I will say that I will not be restricting myself to just one hairstyle. I am going to be using this hair more so this week, and it's going to be like a transition. I do love the ponytail, don't get me wrong. But it's just that I now have the freedom to do so many different hairstyles. I would definitely take advantage of that. My goodness, if on my computer right now, I literally have nothing open besides OBS and VTube Studio, and this one is already running a little bit laggy, a little bit laggy. It's not too bad, but you can tell there's a disconnect, and I'm gonna have to just figure that out. We're gonna have to do more testing, but that's okay. Yeah, isn't it gorgeous? I will say the toughest part about this model was definitely the eyes. The artist did an amazing job and separated so many layers in the eyes, and it took me so long to get the effect I wanted because I had to learn color theory. I had to understand why I liked the certain eyes. I had to understand different, how do I say this? How to get the gradient that I like, but not being too one note as a gradient and getting like bright eyes. Oh my gosh. I haven't even like messed with a lot of things. I will say that this is kind of like the standard face, but a little bit adjusted because I just really love the base face that Akizone and Misi had for the model. It was so cute. Welcome in. Hello, hello, hello. And honestly, I'm very obsessed. I'm very obsessed with this model. I'm really hoping that I can adjust a little and make it work. It is because the gap is bothering me a little bit. Like the delay is bothering me a little bit. But it's really funny because as soon as I turn to the side, I can pout, right? But if I try to pout when I face forward, I cannot pout when I face forward. I can only look off to the side and be a little upset. So many little things about the model, but I just love it. I also have adjusted some of the bounciness. So there is a little bit of bounce. I tested out some things and I'm gonna be continuing to adjusting these parameters. I will be showing you guys some of the toggles today, but we will not be going through that many of them only because I have 3 other outfit reviews we'll be doing, so I'm gonna save some of the other toggles for the other 3 outfit reviews. Now that I have a customizable model, I will in fact be doing a new outfit for each game I will be playing. That's gonna be so much fun, especially with Legends ZA and all the shopping I'm going to do. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I've already made outfits for Mystria, for Time Stranger, and Legends ZA. And I have more ideas for more content, but it's going to be very much like, for me, this is like playing dress up. It's so much fun. I can't wait. I hope you guys also, well, I like this model, even if you guys don't. But I hope that you guys find it as cute as I do. And if you're wondering, I actually have 2 ribbons in my hair. It turns out that there are 2 hair accessories, and I forgot to turn the other one off. So if you see something peek off when I shake the ponytail, it's that. It's very funny though. I don't know. It always catches my eye. Yeah, more outfits. Did I already adjust the toggles? I did and I didn't. So today I will show you guys. You guys have 3 options, and I'll let you guys pick 2 to see. So 1, 2, or 3. I wanted to make a poll, but I couldn't, for some reason, I can't do it today. My OBS will not let me control. And when I tried to open YouTube Studio in order to have it as like another option, it wouldn't let me. It slowed everything down even more. So you guys can pick 1, 2, or 3. And those are, you only get to see 2 toggles today. Well, there'll be 1 bonus one because I'll be planning to use 1 toggle for the stream. But yeah, I hope you guys are also excited to see the outfits. I did try my best. I am limited in the sense that I didn't retexturize anything and I didn't adjust any of the meshes. I didn't feel confident enough to do that. However, I did my best to recreate some of the outfits and I really like how they ended up. So, that's that. Actually, I was gonna have you guys vote 1, 2, or 3, and I still can't do it. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys 2 of the toggles. Sorry, I wanted to give you guys more options, but we won't be able to do that today. Maybe I'll be able to do that in another stream. You know, model debut. Am I right? I can still moderate my chat. I just can't type in my chat. I don't know why. That's so weird. All right. Here is expression number 1. I forgot I had something planned for this. I don't even remember, but isn't it so sad? It's so sad, isn't it? I know, I use this emote all the time and now I have a toggle for it. It is amazing. I was gonna be all teary, but I didn't feel like it. I don't think I could pull it off right now. It's so cute. And then the next one is how I felt when I was watching the watch along. I was actually, I'll give a bit more background, but it was very, very annoying. So I was planning on maybe taking down my second watch along VOD because I was really unhappy and when I was thinking back to the episode, and I don't like having angry or upset content on my channel, not because I don't feel those emotions, but because I just don't think it's fun to watch, and I don't really like, I don't want that, I don't like to do that kind of content. That's just how I personally feel, and that's the kind of content I don't like to do. I did rewatch the VOD, I'm kind of okay with it. I'm gonna have to rewatch the VOD in its entirety to see how I feel about it. And then I'll make a decision if I want to keep it or not, because I just don't want to keep content that I'm not very proud of on my channel, you know? But I feel like this is more me being annoyed, but this is my angry emote. They did such a good job! Look at the eyebrows! You can even see, like, the twitch in my eye. Wait, hold on. Alright, those are the 2 expressions you guys will see today. If you guys want to see the rest of the expressions, and I actually think I have enough to do 2 for the rest of the outfit reviews, we're going to be doing them for the rest of the regularly scheduled content. I will also say that today I will be a shorter stream. I have learned that I cannot do 4 streams yet. And also, today is going just to be the remainder of book club. We're going to finish up volume 5 of the manga and then the first 2 chapters of volume 6. So let me head over there. Oh, hold on. Huh? Where'd I go? Hold on. I swear I fixed this beforehand and I don't know why. Oh, okay. There I am. There I am. Hold on. Alright. Yeah? Okay. Okay. That was very odd. I actually had this prepped beforehand and I don't know what happened to it. There we go. And wow, the chat is actually here today. Yay! And by that I mean here on screen. Let me pull this up a little more. Alright. That's gonna be exciting. I actually plan to take... dang it, I forgot I was gonna do that. I shouldn't have talked. I shouldn't have yapped. What I was going to do was take the model review and then cut it and put it all together in a video of all the outfits to have it as a new trailer for my channel. I still think I want to do that. I might redo it and just film it again because this is very leggy. I'd rather redo it. We'll see. We'll see. I would like to do it because I have a lot of fun things I'd like to show in like a model review video. I've been watching quite a few. No, not when I'm trying to make more content with it. I can. Anyways. Let's go into... Wait, where'd it go? There it is. Let's go into part 2 of In the Land of Leadale. I'm gonna continue this. So this is volume 5, and here's the thing. I could not figure out why I didn't like the princess arc, because I actually remember thinking it was really wholesome and sweet the first time I watched it. Read it, by the way. And then I reread this as I was preparing my notes just to refresh myself, and I was like, oh, I do like the princess. I do like this arc. I was just traumatized and upset because of the anime, because I was so annoyed at the direction the anime took and how unnecessary it was, how it literally added nothing to the story. that I subconsciously disliked it. Even though the princess and Lanti did absolutely nothing wrong. This was actually very cute, very sweet. And yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I kept thinking about it. I was like, why didn't I like this arc? It was very wholesome. So first, we start with is, and I'm going to be mentioning a lot because we did just recently watch the anime, but one of the things that Kana does is that when she mentions in the anime that she's unsure, she says that she thinks she did the right thing by giving the demon bandit leader, I don't remember his name, to the knights. But here, Kana's actually unsure, and she actually asks Arbiter. She asks for his opinion because she's worried she didn't do the right thing. Because, like I said, she feels a responsibility. And she also recognizes that no one else will be able to handle or recognize the level of threat that the bandit leader is. Because, number one, they don't really understand players. There's a lot about, like, how do I explain this? A lot of people in this current world, because of the time gap, the 200 years later, they do not believe in the old stories. They really treat it like legends, and they do not believe that people are as powerful as they say they are. You see that quite a lot with Kana, and it'll be especially prevalent in this chapter. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing the model, and I'm definitely gonna have to find some way to make it smoother. I'm gonna need Sprout 2 on my other computer, aren't I? Okay. I'll research that later. But anyways, let me continue. You'll see here that Kana is never opposed. She never thinks that she's omnipotent. She never thinks she knows everything. She's always willing to like ask, especially people she trusts. And there are several people whose opinions she trusts. Here, after Arbiter's the one who assures her, and he actually gives her a lot of good insight because he is a very respected and actually a mercenary who's done quite a bit. So Kana really values his input. Here, Karina is actually arriving to discuss with Kana because, as Kana said, she handed over the demon bandit leader to the knights, which Karina was the leader of. I think Karina is so cute, like her expressions. And Kana, they do talk a bit, and Kana gets like her reward and things like that. I didn't include that because we're doing the spark notes here, really doing spark notes here. But she instead asks what happened to that bandit leader. So he's currently in a stupefied state. As you can see here, they kept the collar on him, not because they wanted to, but because they had to. They did try to take it off in the light novel. They don't mention if they tried to take it off in the manga. I did reread it, but the light novel, they do mention they tried to, and it just wouldn't come off. Here you can see that I think the anime did it better in that the anime, Karina took Kana's restrict him completely, much more seriously. So he was fully done up in a straitjacket with a mouth guard, with everything, so that he could not even try to access his item box, which was what Kana was worried about. Because even though right now his levels are restricted, he could still have items like the gag item that anyone can use, which produces fireballs beyond the level of anyone capable of magic in this current time frame. Here, they don't really take Kana's warning that seriously. Yeah, that's just how it is. As you can see, Karina even has to she's not questioning Kana, but she is asking questions for the sake of her responsibility and for the sake of being able to answer her superiors, answer their questions. Kana explains it's suppressing his abilities, and then they kind of continue discussing it. But they don't really fully have anything else to talk about in that regard yet, because there's still a lot, how do I say this? They still haven't fully this country hasn't fully evaluated his risk yet. They just know he's done quite a few things, but they're still figuring out how to handle him. So Karina then leaves after giving Kana, number one, her reward, and two, discussing this bandit. She has to go back to her responsibilities. Now, Kana is in Hauptschner with Elena, who tells her, we are going to leave now. I think Kana's so cute here. I just had to include it. Kana, before she leaves, has to go visit quite a few people, and she does visit Carrick. She does specifically mention a couple things to him, and more specifically, she asks for information about a mermaid village, because don't forget, Sakaya, one of the biggest merchant guilds in the continent, so she feels like if anyone can find the information, it's probably him. He gladly is able to do it, and he actually has, it's really funny, he has a scene, it's very small as a panel, I should have included it but I wasn't sure, him bringing his son and a bunch of merchants all to thank Kana for defeating the bandits and for opening up the trade routes again. Kana is like, oh, okay, that's a little too much. But at the end of it, they all leave on good terms. She has a very wholesome ending or goodbye with Carrick and Karina, and you can see by how cute she looks here. Now, as they go on their way back, I should have had better transitions. But as they go on their way back, at first, Arbiter and everyone are really excited because Kana has magic that allows them to walk on water. They think that's super fun. They want to do that again. However, guess who's here? It's Kartaz. And Kartaz is here to fix the bridge. He's been tasked by both countries because he is a master builder. And he is, in fact, kind of doing it by hand because he's teaching apprentices. Now, fun fact, in the light novel, Kana and Kartaz actually build the bridge together. I think I mentioned this on Sunday. But they group together, use their building skills, discuss things like design, and it's really fun because you can tell they have two different perspectives and experiences. Kana comes from a player's perspective. She's like, hey, if you do it this way, it'll be sturdier, it'll last longer, and things like that. And then Kartaz, on the other hand, is like, hey, if you do it like that, it could flood over. There could be environmental concerns. And he's really thinking about it from a current, I should say like a master builder, really thinking about the environment, the context. And Kana's very focused on the utility. And it's really cute. They do end up like agreeing and working together and building a really solid bridge. And it is a really fun mention where Kana builds the bridge out of material she gets from Opus. And it's really important because apparently, this will be more important later, I can't really go into why now, but Opus's material is meant to be extremely, number one, I think rare, and number two, extremely long lasting. So even Kartaz is really impressed by material, and he doesn't know where she got it, but he's like, it's mom, it's okay, that's where she got it. So it's really cute. I do like the way they depicted it here though with the bridge building because it does look like he is a master builder. And of course, they have their very heartwarming Kana is doting on her kids moment. It's so cute. Now, I'm skipping ahead. It's really, really sweet because as Kana is talking with Kartaz, he joins them on the village back. They talk and she mentions that she did meet the grandkids and Kartaz isn't surprised, but he's really glad Kana's like excitedly telling him about the grandkids because he knows she got duped. Like Kartaz, the thing is like, she does blame Mai for not telling her about the grandkids, but she never blames Kartaz for not giving her a heads up, even though Kartaz knew what Mai was hiding. So I think in that way, Kana is very much, how do I say this? She's very mature in that way because I think that other 17-year-olds definitely would, how do I say this? Would maybe have words to say. That's the thing. Kana may be 17 and it shows in some of her behavior, but also because of her life experience, she's definitely more mature in other ways. That's just how it is for some people. Everyone has ways that they are more experienced in and ways that they are still a little bit childish in. I was going to go more into that, but I can't because it's going to reveal too much right now. It's okay. So Kana, one of the things that she mentioned to Elena is that they need to stop back at the remote village. That is what it's called. It literally does not have a name. And she wants to check on Mimily because Kana got a lot of money. And what she wants to do is invest that in Mimily. By that I mean she wants to cover her food, board, and things like that because Mimily is like a semi-perma guest until they can find the mermaid village. Fun fact, Mimily has a bonus chapter a bonus story in this volume of the light novel. If you want to know more Mimily's background, I do recommend you read it. I might mention it later. I think I'll mention it. Maybe I'll mention it. I'm not sure. It is relevant and isn't relevant, but it gives a lot more insight into Mimily, and it's actually crazy. I might mention it because I do have one thing I kind of want to complain about. I don't understand why this is a recurring thing in this story, but that's just what happens. So as you can see here, Mimily, Mimi, the adorable mermaid who somehow ended up in a black hole, ended up in a village. She decided she didn't just want to lay around and do nothing. She actually ended up starting her own laundry service. It actually happened because she was showing her magic to Lit, the young girl, the daughter of the innkeeper, and someone who's a huge fan of Kana. And Lit's like, oh, you could do laundry with that. And Minmali has no concept of laundry. That should be obvious. She has no concept of laundry. So what instead is Lit explains to her and she decides she'll do it. And Lit actually becomes her little partner because Minmali can't really go anywhere. As you can see here, in the manga, Minmali actually has like this device Kana built for her that allows her to be like a little bit mobile. But for a lot of reasons, including Minmali's safety and the villagers just being concerned, like if anyone passed by and saw her, it might be dangerous for her. She usually just stays out of sight and in the bathhouse, in the light novel. I don't really know about the manga. Here she's like outside, but I think she's still in like an area where it's like generally people wouldn't walk by. It is in fact a cause of concern, and we find out why in the light novel, that it's really important that Minmali stays protected. Like it was a really good idea by the villagers. Anyways, it's very cute because I think Kana's kind of adopted Minmali, as you can see here. Kana's like, oh my gosh, I'll build you a place for you to do laundry. And Minmali's just like, oh my god, you're making my debt worse. And it's so funny because Minmali is so graceful and pretty, and her expression here is so well done. I love that the artists never hold back from these like expressions, and it makes it so much more fun to read. Next, Kana goes back to the capital of Felskilo, and there she decides to continue being an adventurer because she just kind of wants to be typical. Also, there's a note that the reason why Kana has to do adventuring is because she can't take out her money. She knows that the current money she has, which her currency is pretty much going to A, give her trouble, or B, could cause trouble for the economy because she only gets her coins in one format. Now, what's really interesting to Kana is when she puts money in her item box, it also gets converted into all silver coins. It won't get converted to any other coin, just silver coins. So Kana technically just has silver coins. It's very weird because she does have money she stored before, and that's fine. But for some reason, the new money she receives gets turned all into silver coins. It's just one of those things. So that's why she's taking on quest. Now, Kana is here contemplating different quests, and she meets, who is this? This is Coral. Coral is an adventurer who gives her advice and gives her some, I guess, perspective on why there are certain tasks and things like that. He specifically mentions that there might be some young adventurers who are starting off adventuring and some older adventurers who are still picking up requests once in a while just to, like, stay active and as they need to. Now, Kana eventually decides on the Hornbear extermination. I picked this because I was annoyed that in the anime they had it that Key had to remind her. Kana actually is very sharp when it comes to her kids. She tends to remember things about them. Not always, and she's not perfect. But when it comes to things like this, like I'm pretty sure her kids only mentioned the restaurant to her once, and she does remember, oh, I think that's the one the kids like. It is a gag that she never remembers like the name of the restaurant. But as soon as she heard the name, she's like, yeah, that's the one. And it's very cute. It's very wholesome. Gosh darn it, anime. Now, when you see this, you're probably thinking, he's up to no good. But actually, fun fact about Coral, I felt bad for him because they didn't depict this. I get it, budgetary concerns. But Coral actually has a whole adventuring group. And as you can see, there's a couple in the back. There are elves, humans, beastmen. It's a very diverse group, and they're all really nice. They actually are one of the few people who are like, you can tell they kind of watch out for adventurers because they do mention Kana, and they're a little bit concerned about her because they're not concerned about the quest she took, but that she took longer than the quest should have taken. And I think that's very great. I think it really shows like this is kind of shooting ahead, but Coral's character and the people he chooses to associate with, because let's be real, the people you do surround yourself with do reflect a bit back onto you. I say a bit, but yep. Anyways, I think it shows a lot of Coral's character and Kana's. Now here, Kana is on her way to do the quest when she bumps into Lonty. And with Lonty and this adorable little mini Kana, you probably can't see my mouse, we get Princess Mai. Now, Kana doesn't know she's a princess. She can kind of guess, but let me show you something really funny. So Kana apparently has what is called bewitching smile. It is a skill that is self-activating. Every time she smiles, that's why people are always surprised when she smiles, because she literally looks like there are sparkles coming from her smile. There are. It's a skill. It is subconscious. She doesn't remember, but it does activate automatically. And it's part of the reason why everyone is always shocked when they're meeting Kana. There is a very cute panel of the princess blushing because she is bewitched. I recommend you check it out in the manga if you haven't. Anyways, here there is a Kana. After Lanti works up the courage to ask her to take her and Mai and kind of protect them and guard them because they are running away. They do have a discussion and Kana gets right to it. Hello, welcome in. Yes, it's not just a new outfit. It is in fact a new model. Now, excuse the partial delay. I'm going to work out some of the details of it, but it's basically because there are so many layers in this model which make it amazing, but definitely going to have to adjust some of my settings in order to make sure that it has like the... I don't like the delay. But let me continue. So as you can see here, I really like that in the manga, everyone is so expressive. Like even the princess and Lanti here, both of them are... Kana isn't, by the way, being harsh or anything. She's just trying to get to the point, understand why they are looking for her. Because Lanti said, I thought we would have to look everywhere for you. Kana is fine. She tells them... Oh, okay, she didn't. I didn't show it. She tells them, it's fine, I'm not gonna tell anyone anything, but if we should probably get going, and then the girls are concerned how they're gonna leave without being noticed, and Kana's like, just put up your hood, it's fine. And apparently that was it. The guards should be fired because their princess walked right by them and they didn't know. But anyways, they got out and the girls, she's telling the girls all about her quest, and we'll get a little more into that. But first, more summons! Now, there are so many summons that appear. We first get the Wind Spirit. Now, there is a couple rules about summons I have learned in this volume, I would say, the light novel volume. It's not in the manga. There are apparently rules about the kind of summons you can do elemental-wise. By that, it says you can't have dark and light together. You can't have, I believe it's water and fire together because the fire spirit will be weakened. If you have fire and wind... no, you can't have... I can't remember. There's another combination, and I was trying... I forgot my notes. There's another combination where if you summon one, it will cancel out the other. And so I was trying to compare all of the summons she summoned and see if there are any that would like conflict in these rules. I don't know. The rules aren't detailed enough for me to know. And for example, sometimes she'll say things like wind spirits. But if you look at the Wolves, we don't know what element they are. I still don't know what element Cerberus is. He just looks like a good boy. Also, there's a way to calculate each of the spirit levels. What you do is you take the summoner's level, you times it by 0.1, and then you times it by the power level. Now, when you summon summons, you can only have up to 8 at a time. Oh no, you can only have 8 of one kind, and then you can only have a maximum power level cumulatively of 12. So unless we have all these details, we can figure out stuff. We could calculate some of the stuff in the previous volume because they mentioned the levels and things, but here I could not calculate anything. Are there elements that complement each other? That's a good question. They don't mention it. They might mention it in like a future novel, but in the particular passage where they talked about this, it pretty much just says light and dark will cancel each other out. Water will weaken fire, and I think it's wind and earth are not compatible. Which I was like, I'm pretty sure she summoned wind and earth at the same time. But I'll have to double check my notes. But basically, they don't say if there are complementary ones. They just say, oh, here are the very basics. And I wish they had elaborated more because it sounds super interesting. Or maybe I just love the summons. I don't know. But as you can see here, Kana's summons are all very OP, and you will get an example of why they are OP when you get a comparison of what they call a top adventurer in this current age. The distance is crazy. She also has a summoning magic white dragon. Now, in the light novel, this is a holy element Mon. And in the manga, they don't really elaborate on it. The light novel, they do have Kana do things like paw, roll over in order to show that he is in fact a domesticated white dragon. I almost got angry. It's fine. I'm fine. Now here are how the summons work. As you can see, Kana can actually communicate with the summons, which I think is super interesting. And you're probably wondering how like the wind spirits actually help her find the horn bear. As you can see, they actually distract it, locate it, and then tell her where it is. Now, she can actually communicate. When I say talk, I mean like they are using full words and sentences to talk with Kana. Now, not all her summons can talk to her, but this does prove that some of the summons are able to communicate with her. And it's very, very cute because Kana actually uses her summons as like an extension of herself. So when she sets up the onsen and the princess and Lanti are enjoying a bath, she is going out to defeat the horned bear because she knows that she, A, doesn't want to do it in front of them. They probably couldn't handle that. But B, the summons, the Thier Wolf she has, are meant to protect them while she and the wind spirits go off to go hunt. She doesn't summon the Holy Dragon until after she's defeated the Horned Bear. I just wanted to include all the summons in one page because, like I said, this is the Sparks notes of Volume 5. If you want to see the great paneling, the lettering, the typesetting, and the amazing work done by the manga artist, highly recommend you read the manga volume to get the full experience. I am giving you spark notes. Oh yeah, the job. Okay, so this is what a horn bear is. Now this horn bear might look very familiar to you if you have read volume 1 or if you have watched the previous book club show. The book club VOD. Apparently they can grow over 5 meters tall and are powerful enough to pulverize the largest boulders in a single blow, so they are one punch bear. And what I didn't show is that Lanti and Mai pretty much talk about how no one can take it out. They are shocked. They wonder if it's possible for an individual, one person, to take it out. Because even Lanti says with magic, she doesn't believe she could take down a horned bear. And apparently Lanti is a skilled mage. How skilled is she? Well, she works at the palace. She's in charge of the prince. I'll let your imagination go there because they don't elaborate. They don't tell us, so we can only assume based on other things. So in Volume 1, this is in fact the bear that Kana took out with one kick. Now the reason Kana used the kick is, number 1, she was in a rush because the bear was about to attack a villager. So she just kicked because she is using a lot of skills like body reinforcement, speed, and what was it, like pinpoint accuracy or something like that. And the bear, also, she finds out later that the bear is very valuable for a lot of its materials. So if she kicks it, she's able to retain the quality of these materials because anything like cuts, singes, or will drop the bear's value. But as you can see, I gave you a little comparison of the size of the bear to Kana. And you can even see her ability as a high elf where all the plants are screaming because she's dragging this bear through different trees. And so this is how Kana takes out this bear. As soon as her spirits have like kind of taken it by surprise, she takes it out. Oh, I thought, my bad, I mixed it up. So in the manga, Kana takes out the bear while Lanti and Mai are watching. I think they're also watching in the light novel. I must have mixed it up. But you can see the little Thier wolves. Look at how cute they are. They're just chill. They're just chill. They're there to protect Mai and Lanti in case other monsters come around. But Kana is pretty much not afraid of anything, and she doesn't have a reason to be. Now, as you can see, she has the dragon here. The dragon is meant to be, by the way, the one waving high is Kana, not the dragon. The dragon is fluffy, and she actually has it appear in order to like sleep on, and also because it can protect them. I think it's interesting. I don't really get her logic because I think Cerberus also could have worked, but you know, why am I to judge why we should have a dragon? Maybe Kana just feels like a dragon. But as you can see, she's telling Mai, and she's like, hey, have you seen a dragon before? You're royalty. And Mai's like, of course not. They're just creatures of legend. And they're like, but there is a dragon Zoid, a dragon person. And apparently that's Shining Saber. He's captain of the Night Corps. He's fairly recent, but he has a lot of ancient knowledge. So as soon as Kena hears ancient knowledge, she says, could he be a player? But she's not sure. Anyways, they talk about a lot of things. They have a lot of girl talk, and it's very, very cute, very, very sweet. The arc is much better in the manga and really good in the light novel as well. I highly recommend it if you want some wholesome, cute moments. I do not recommend the anime. But basically, they talk about the trial, and they don't really know what the trial is. They're like, oh, we have to fight you? And she's like, ha, that's just plain impossible. You see how she's very lighthearted about this? This is what I meant when I said Kena is not haughty. She's not arrogant about her ability. She just is very confident, and she has a very clear understanding of people's current abilities because she can see their levels. This is something that players can do. But it's very lighthearted. Anyways, we get a very cute flashback. It's not very clear. It's not meant to be very clear. I highly recommend you check out the manga. But I wanted to show this depiction because this is actually Kena and showing a lot of her bonds. They encountered this little arrow. This arrow might look a little familiar for those of you who read and watched the anime or read the manga. Because back in Felskilo, that very arrow is still there. And we have someone here, Mai's husband, who apparently treats that spot like the academy, like a dump. And they pour their failed potions. You see how he pours it and doesn't just get rid of the flask because flasks are expensive? Teachers are on a budget. But regardless, it's ridiculous how they just have, like, instead of a magical disposal or like something that can help them get rid of the waste, they just pour into the ground. Yeah, let's just pour expensive ingredients, potion combinations, volatile things potentially into the ground. I still don't get the logic. But we're not going to talk about that yet because we're going to go back to the Adventure Guild. We find out Coral has been here for 10 years. Coral is in fact player 3 because player 1 was Kena, player 2 was that demon bandit leader, and now player 3 is Coral. We find out that Coral is his avatar, and this equipment is his equipment. I'm guessing that when he created this group, they all decided to match his equipment. But it was very... Excuse me. Oh, okay. I thought I was going to sneeze. Until Leadale ended. So it does say here, he got together his buddies, and then they just looked at the land. And not depicted here, but shown in the light novel, is Coral of his buddies. And then I really love this. This is what I mean by the panels and why the manga is so good to me. Look at this progression, okay? And he opens his eyes and he's in Leadale. It's done so well. It's so impactful. So impactful. I think they build up so much good tension and development with their paneling. So now he's here in Leadale by himself. Look at the way they're able to depict his emotion. What's really... It's both heartbreaking but also so validating for Kena, I think, is that he never stopped looking for other players. Even Coral, even though he chose to live in this world, he agreed and he accepted his reality and decided to live on as Coral, just as Kena did. I think part of them still hopes they're able to find another player. They want to confirm, like, they're not crazy, you know? Like, those memories they had, the knowledge of the game, everything. Like, they know it's a game because they can still see the item box, they can still see levels. But some part of them might also feel unreal, right? Especially after a long period of time. Coral spent 10 years. Now, as he spent 10 years, eventually he kind of just thought maybe it's just him. Maybe he's just that isekai protagonist. And then he bumped into Kena. And he can literally see nothing. Now, Coral is apparently high level. I thought he was another level. I apparently mixed him up with adventurers of the current age. My bad, Coral. I severely underestimated you. Even though you are very not strong compared to Kena, you are no slouch when it comes to this world either. As Coral here is contemplating about those 10 years, all of a sudden he bumps into someone, and as he sees that he can see his status panel, he looks and it's also unknown. Now, who could this player be? It is in fact one of his guild friends. So if you guys don't know, on the left, the one with the spots is a Dragonoid called Kyotaro. He was a skill master. He actually owns the Colosseum, and he is the 9th skill master. He's also the guild leader of Coral's guild, the Silver Moon Horseman, and this person is Shining Saber, who was the sub-leader of Silver Moon Horseman. Now, I don't know why for 10 years that Coral has been an adventurer. We find out later that Shining Saber has been here for at least a year, because the princess mentioned he's been a knight captain for at least a year. So it's surprising to me that they didn't get to meet before, and it wasn't until Kana arrived that they kind of had their encounter. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. I haven't read the rest of the story yet. But it's so cute. They have their very emotional moment. And what do you know? According to the rule of, what do we call it? Plot armor? The plot? Of course. Of course. There is an explosion. Now, what I think is really interesting is when this happens, Lopez can see that there are letters, right? So what happens is this is activating the event. And there are little letters that are forming, I guess, the data of the event monster. And for some reason, Lopez can tell that they are letters. I honestly thought that he wouldn't be able to distinguish it, that they would just look like lights to him. But for some reason, he can see that they are letters. And I do wonder if this will be brought up later on, because Lopez is an instructor. He is a researcher. He's also an alchemist. I think he may or may not research this in the future, especially to figure out what those words might mean and things like that. I think it's a very interesting note. They don't mention this in only mention this in the light novel and manga, and what shall not be named. So this is the before, the magical girl sequence for the event monster, and this is after. It becomes this gigantic penguin with abs. Apparently it's a dolphin too. I guess like from the beak it kind of looks like a dolphin. But to me, like, unless I convince myself it has dolphin features, it doesn't really look like a dolphin. I don't know. What do you guys think? No? Anyways, back with Kana and Co. It turns out the reason the princess is running away from the castle is because her mother, her majesty, is trying to set her up with a betrothal meeting. So a betrothal partner. But Princess Mai already has someone she likes. It's kind of convoluted. I think she had quite a few reasons for it. But ultimately, I think she just wanted to see if there's a chance, and I think now that she knows that Kana is not opposed to her crush on Kana's kid, I personally don't know how that's going to work out, because Scargo doesn't seem like he might have an interest in her. Also, I don't think Kana, regardless of if Scargo was involved, she may or may not hate. Look, she does hate, don't get me wrong. May or may not get involved with the country, because she just hates nobles and their politics. And Kana would smash them away, as she has mentioned. Now, as they are kind of just on their way back, they're not really sure if they should head back yet, because, Princess Mai is still contemplating how she'll talk to her mom. The fairy freaks out and starts urgently trying to get Kana to go somewhere. Kana is able to tell what she wants, even though the fairy canonically cannot communicate yet with Kana. So that's why Kana has a lot of questions for the fairy, but she's not able to ask it, because even though Kana can communicate with her summons, apparently the fairy cannot communicate with her at this time. They just communicate through expertly done facial expressions, which I think it's very obvious what she's worried about. Also, Kana has a hunch. So they're going back, and here is where the manga differs again from what shall not be named. In the manga and the light novel, the monster does pretty much no damage. There is some concern about casualties, but because Cartaz, Mai Mai, and Scargo effectively are able to band together and evacuate everyone, there is no casualties. In What Shall Not Be Named, the monster is literally chomping down on the same NPCs over and over again. That does not happen in the manga or light novel. It might just be creative expectation, but they do mention in the light novel and the manga that there could be casualties if they don't quickly handle this monster because it's on the move. So that's my inference that at that time there were no casualties yet. Now, as they're getting more information, they're finding out it came out of the garbage site. Why is it a garbage site? And my here brings up the mother did say something about dangerous places on the sandbar. Now, Lopez here does immediately take responsibility, but it's sort of like in a reluctant kind of way because after my kind of called him out with Kana, he does take responsibility. Like, he's like, it may have reacted to one of my potions. I know there's always the sliver that it didn't happen, but my guy, you poured the potion and then the light exploded in front of your eyes. I don't know. I just think it's like one of those things where he's like, it may have. I would think it would have made more sense if he did say it's my fault, and then later on they could have been like, oh, actually, it wasn't just your fault, you know? Anyways, here they are all banding together, and what is Cartaz and Mai doing? Well, we'll have to figure that out later. Now we're entering co-op mode as Shining Saber and Coral recognize number 1, that it is an event monster. It takes at least 20 players in the level 300 to take that on. But I think it's so funny that Coral is like, I'm gonna wreck it! It instantly made me think of Wreck-It Ralph, which was a great movie. I liked the first one. Wasn't crazy about the second, but I liked the first one. And I think it's really funny because Coral is the one getting Shining Saber to calm down. As you can see, he's like, oh, you're an adventurer. Because the thing is, Shining Saber is a knight captain. So he feels a responsibility to the kingdom in order to deal with this monster. But Coral is just a regular person. And this is a fun note for manga and light novel. It's not mentioned anywhere else. But knights and adventurers don't really have good rapport. Knights tend to be really haughty. They tend to be a little arrogant. They don't kind of look down on the adventurers. And the adventurers don't really like dealing with them because they know they're looked down on. But I will say that the adventurers tend to be more skilled than knights because knights, how do I explain this? They're pretty weak. We see that with Karina. Karina is very strong compared to the rest of the knights because she is related to the foster children and like kind of connected to the foster program. I actually think it'd be interesting to see if Mai's kids could learn skills because they are her kids and they're related. And it'd be interesting to see if then after Mai's kids, if her grandkids could learn skills. Because it is mentioned Kana is kind of willing to give a skill scroll to Karina. But I think she does hesitate because Karina is a knight and she doesn't really want to get involved in the politics. Also, she had her principles as a skill master. I do think it was the politics thing, though. You'll see later why I think it's more politics than anything. She might make an exception later on. I don't know. Now it's her grandkids, so. Anyways, Coral decides to help Shining Saber, and together they use weapon skill double crush pike ring attack. Now, as you can see here, I didn't show the full fighting paneling, the full fight, all the fighting panels, the progression of the fight. But they actually are able to kind of give a bit of damage to the monster. Now, in the What Now Shall Not Be Named, they do no damage, which I think is ridiculous. Like, at the very least, their attack should have dinged the monster. It should have at least had, like, been able to, I don't know, make it turn its head or something. It's pretty annoying that they really reduced the power level because it just calls into a question later on when you find out what level Coral and Shining Saber are. Like, it doesn't make sense logically why they were able to do no damage to this monster. They need 20 level 300 players to take it down, but you should still be able to do some damage to it when you solo it. You just may not be able to fully take it down. Now, because this is the real world, when they get hit, it hurts. As you can see here, Scargo and Shining Saber are being healed. Shining Saber and Coral are being healed by Scargo, who pops in. Kana is rushing back with the Theorwolves, who somehow are able to take Lonti and Princess Mai. I thought they had bigger forms. But it's really funny because in What Now Shall Not Be Named, the Theros don't look as cute. These look like little raccoon wolves with like a bit of nine-tailed fox elements to them. But in the What Shall Not Be Named, they just look like white Cereberuses. And then they don't even fully depict anything. Anyways, as you can see here, we're going to show you a comparison. These are regular mages that are under my. So these are mages that are fully fledged, serving the country. They are top of whatever standards they have. And the monster just bats their attack away. You can see that. Like, that makes sense. People are very, very weak compared to players. Now, on the other hand, you have my, who's part of the foster system. She can actually damage the... What are we going to call it? The Pangfin? The Dolquin? The Event Monster. I tried to give him a name. We're going to call him Event Monster. Now, it's really funny because Coral is actually talking to Shining Saber, and I wanted to include it, but basically, Scargo has a moment where he's just bragging about Kena. It's so funny. I also love the little influence of them having the flowers behind Scargo, because he always has his special skill on called Oscars, which allow him to show his emotions in a visual way that everyone can see. They're just going to try again, but it turns out that combine all their attacks. You see how it did 20% of damage? It didn't look like 20% of damage in what cannot be named, but here it makes sense that they were able to at least ding it. Now, they're in a bit of rough spot because you can't really see here. Shining Saber doesn't have a weapon anymore. His armor is still there. And Coral has also lost his shield, but he still has part of his sword. You can see it's been snapped in half. But they're going to keep trying. Now, back to that little panel we saw of Mai and Kartaz talking, it turns out someone sent a message to Mai telling them that Kena was on the way. Now, Mai and Kartaz, I was going to call him Karataz, are concerned because, as you guys may not know, telepathy is a very specific skill that you can only talk with certain people, like people who have a blood relationship to you. So they don't know how this person was able to transmit a message to them. We do get a little silhouette there. But they do say they do trust it because otherwise, if Scargo had gotten the message, he would have already left and that would have been really bad. Bad for a lot of reasons, but it tells them that they do have an understanding of the current situation and also the priorities. Also, they have an understanding of the personalities. So they're just not going to doubt it. I think at this point, they think it's Kena. They think it might be someone involved with Kena, but they just don't really question it. They don't really have time yet. Now, Kena is already on the way back. Kartaz actually goes to meet Kena. Kena tasked Kartaz to take care of Princess Mai and Lanti, who are still with her. And then she goes and she can see the event monster in the distance. She is at the entrance of Felskilo. She's very far away. She summons her silver ring, which has a mana healing boost, as well as allowing her to summon multiple spells at the same time. And she decides to go all out. Like, look at that scale and look how tiny Kena is. And I love this panel because just as Shining Saber and Coral is like, we're gonna do it, we're gonna give it our all, what was it called? A last hurrah, like a Hail Mary. And then they see this gigantic rock, like a football, shoot over their heads. Their expression's amazing. It's so funny. And it just pretty much takes out the penguin. Now, of course, that's not the only one. Kena does use 2 more magic skills to show the sheer scale of magic that Kena can do. Look at this. Like, is this not insane? And I did put this in the wrong order, but you can see on the right here that it basically disintegrates the event monster. It took 3 attacks to take down 80% of its HP. This is why Kena is so fearsome. They're like, Kena can take down a city. I'm like, heck no. Kena can decimate your entire continent if she wanted to. Because no one else would be able to stop her. Everyone's excited. This is the regular people. They don't know what happened. They just know the monster is gone. Now, at the very end, this is so cute, but they find out that there is a drop from the event monster. It is Auriculum. And these two, they looked a bit dinged up, but they're fine, and they want to give it to Kena. Now, it's really funny because they're like, you have a craft skill? So they already, how do I explain this? They are already operating under the assumption that Kena is a player because I think they're aware after living in the world for several years that no one has that level of ability. So instead of being like, she could be, they're like, yeah, she's a player. So at this point, they're just like, oh, wow, you have crafting skills? Because don't forget, in Leadale, in order to get skills, you either have to do certain triggers or you have to complete certain quests. Very few people have the title Skill Master. At this point, they don't know she's a Skill Master. Now, it's so cute because when Coral is being very practical, you can tell he's been in the world for 10 years because he's like, okay, but if you change your mind and ask us for money later, we really don't have any money to give you. He's being very practical. He's not going to be swindled. And Scargo's threatening them. He's like, how dare you look down on Mother's generosity? And Kano just puts him in his place. It's so cute. And by cute, I mean like the way they depict it, because they're like chibis. They're like little blobs. So here they're asking Kana to meet. Kana still doesn't know yet, but they're fairly certain. And now Kana has to deal with what actually caused the event monster. And it just so happened that Lopez's combination triggered it. It took 3 ingredients. I don't know what they were. That's what you need in order to trigger the event monster. So Kana tells him back up, and then she tries to literally blow up the event monster spot. It's still there. So in the light novel, she actually considers more things, but in the manga, I love that she just goes for it and tries to blow it up. It's so funny. And here she's contemplating. She's like, I might have to sink the entire sandal bar. Like, what else can we do just so that no one else can take advantage of this and summon an event monster whenever they want to cause trouble? What did they do to the dropped auriculum? So Kana's going to craft something with it. She promised to craft them a weapon, and Coral and Shining Saber agreed. Even though Kana did the final attack, she actually doesn't need it. Like, Kana has access right now to 2 item boxes in her tower, as well as Opus's, who's given her full reign of his. Yeah, we've done Opus's already. Okay. So she's not worried about materials. So she was just like, hey, thanks for you guys being brave, because she still thinks they're regular people, and it's really rough for regular people because, mortality. She commends them and says she'll make them something in order to thank them for, trying to fight the event monster. I think you guys can tell what I mean by, like, there's less lean in this model. It's not bad, it's just different, so it's just going to take getting used to. Anyways, Kano makes sure that Mai will set this area as off limits, and Mai's like, oh my god, it's either I set it off limits or the sandbar gets blown up. So in the What Now Shall Not Be Named, what she does is she has mages and a barrier. I don't know what she does in the manga and light novel. It's not elaborated on. And when Kana says, hold on a sec, all she does is let Mai know, we will talk about that later. And then Mai's really dejected. And Kana does not forget. Oh, okay. So here, Lopez is explaining to Kana why this happened. He's like, I was trying to recreate one of your potions. It's like the ancient lost arts. I am a scientist. I would really love the ability. So he wants to know how to do it. So Kana here, it's really interesting to me. It's like, you're supposed to pass a trial first, but I guess you've been a good friend to Mai. And it's so funny to me because Lopez is Mai's husband. Kana is basically like denying their relationship. And she's not doing it, I think, maliciously or intentionally. I think it's just like to her, she's like, yeah, you're friends of my kid. It's so funny because he's her husband, her second husband, but her husband. And she's like, yeah, you've been a good friend to her. I don't really know why, but it just makes me, I think it's so funny. Because it's not really picked up on. Like, Lopez doesn't care. He's just like, gosh, I want to learn how to make this potion. So she makes an exception and makes him this skill. However, she says only if you're able to learn it. We will get back to this later. This does get elaborated on. Now, Kana is meeting up with Coral and Shining Saber. They look really ragged, and she turns out that they were meeting the king and, the nobles and doing all that fancy smanchy, hey, thanks for saving the country kind of thing. So here you can see Scargo and a Guido, who is the prime minister, grandfather of the princess and prince, and also a marquise who met Kana on the first day she was in Fauskilo. So here it turns out that Guido and Scargo opposed to summoning Kana. Honestly, like, nobles are I think if it wasn't for the fact that Scargo would probably hunt them down for bothering Kana, so many nobles would have bothered Kana already. Because nobles are really dumb that way. I get it, they want to do power struggle and things like that. But it's like you hear that someone has literally is the parent of 3 of the most influential people in your country, and she's hidden away from society, and you're like, yeah, I should be her ally. I definitely won't anger her and bring the wrath of her onto the country. Anyways, here is something I think was really missing in What Shall Not Be Named, but it's a very clear indication of Kana's personality in the light novel and manga is that Kana summons an isolation barrier. They are in the Colosseum, by the way. So she does specifically mention that Agaido, the prime minister, has been sending spies, and not like ill-intended towards her, but just people who are like keeping an eye on her. So it's very clear that Agaido has gotten to the point where he understands. I just think it's foolish because previously there was a previous incident where the prince was bothering Kana, and then nobles came and threatened Kana. And if Kana hadn't been good natured, I think if let's say if Kana wasn't good natured, they didn't run away when they saw the symbol, I think the Gaido would have dealt with them because Kana literally could have just blown them up. I don't mean like blown them limbs into bits. I mean like the nobles are blasting off again, and then they would deal with heavy damage in the fall. But basically, it was just they were very disrespectful and rude. And I think it is part of Agaido tailing after Kana that has allowed her to be left alone, because he would probably warn the king. He's like, hey, she actually will blow up the kingdom if we bother her. So if we really don't threaten these nobles, we could possibly no longer exist. I think it has a lot of layers. It also shows that Kana is sharp because she does have Ki, who is her virtual AI assistant, always keeping watch for her and like warns her. Except sometimes Ki has different definitions of like danger, and that you'll kind of see that later. Anyways, we find out that Shining Saber is level 427. Coral is level 392. So when he mentions that like Shining Saber, there's a little quip he makes. He's like, it must be nice to be level 400 because he's 392. I think it must be really difficult for them to level up because in a game it's easier to level up. But here in the real world where they're faced with their mortality, it must be more difficult for them to find opportunities to level up. But they are still like leagues above other people. You will see that later. Anyways, it turns out that they're in the same guild as Kyotaro, who I mentioned was the 9th skill master. He was also a friend of Kana and a fellow skill master. I think I said that twice. Kana is from Cream Cheese. Now, Cream Cheese, as you can see, a guild full of limit breakers. That means everyone is over level 1000, which was the level limit of Leadale, and they all have GM privileges. They were all game masters. They weren't official, they weren't paid, they were involuntary volunteers who took on some of the tasks of the game masters. Now, they know Kana immediately, and Kana just reminds her, she's like, I hate that nickname. And Kana's basically like this, hold on. I hate that nickname. If you don't shut up, I will blast you with my spear, or with my staff that will in fact send you flying, cause you magic and physical damage. That's pretty much Kana. She says it all with a smile. Anyways, this is the weapon she crafted out of the auriculum. It is a holy weapon that raises all stats. Now, Shining Saber also wanted something, but they didn't specify to Kana that they wanted 2 weapons, so she only made 1. But what she did instead is she shined it up for him. In the light novel and in the What Shall Not Be Named, Kana actually says that you already have a weapon, but she makes a weapon for Coral specifically because she noticed that his was destroyed. Like, Scargo tells her that Shining Saber's weapon stuff was kind of dinged, but Coral lost his weapon. That's why she decides to make him a sword. Now, they're all very comfortable talking to each other because I didn't show it here, but they basically all talk about who they are, their circumstances, how they came into the game. And I think it's really good because they're like exchanging information, but it's also like, hey, I'm not crazy. I finally met someone like me. And they're finally getting to talk about things that they cannot mention to anyone else, right? I also think it's very, very fitting. Here you can see that Shining Saber empathizes with Kana in like He's always he's very soft. He looks like he's a dragonzoid, but he's very soft. You see it in his personality. Coral, on the other hand, remember, he's been here 10 years. He spent 10 years looking for other players. He's the first one to say, let's add each other to our friends list. That way they think, to them, it's huge, right? Finally be able to utilize that. And I think there's such a sweet moment where Coral's the one who suggested because he spent so long looking for people. But for Kana, they don't know, they recognize realistically, they don't know how long this game system will last, but for her to see their names on a friend list, yeah, it's just so comforting to them, right? It's familiar. Like for Kana, who's only been here, I think 3 months, it's already comforting. So cannot imagine how it must feel for like Coral and Shining Saber who've been here. Shining Saber's been here 3 years, Coral 10 years. Kana is 3 months. So as you can tell from the timelines, it's kind of crazy. It's really spaced out. Anyways, Coral's asking Kana for a skill and she's like, go do the trial. And Coral's like, hey, there's no GMs anymore. And they're all being very free with each other because now they don't have to I think they're kind of all brought back to the moment where they're still in the game and they're being very casual because Coral up to this point was more serious because don't forget, he's in his 30s now. Shining Saber is serious because of his responsibilities and Kana knows that she has kids now and some part of her has to be aware because she has a lot of things that people could take advantage of even if though she didn't know at first. But they all have kind of loosened up with each other. Now, you see the little temple in the middle of ocean? That is where we're going next. Maybe we'll go there. I don't know. I'm undecided. Might do another book club on the next books, but I don't think I want to do any more watch-alongs of the anime. There's a specific scene I have in mind that's coming up, and I have no confidence in that what shall not be named. I did name it, unfortunately, to depict it in a way that I feel I would enjoy, or that I feel would be a proper way to adapt the scene. I don't want to see what they've done with it. Anyways, as you can see, Kana immediately knows which skill master's temple it probably is because it's these guardian towers, they are very unique structures. They are structures that they know are not built by the people of these eras, I should say. So here she makes him the scroll for healing magic because it's one of those things, and this is very realistic, it's one of those things where apparently all players have it because the skill is really simple, it's easy, and a lot of people do it right away. But because it's so simple, easy, and people do it right away, and people used to treat it as a game, Coral didn't have it. So for the last 10 years, he's been operating without recovery magic, which is crazy. Crazy concept. As someone who always wants to have a recovery skill on hand or recovery items, that sounds crazy to me, but you can never tell. Now, what's interesting is Shining Saber, because like I said, he's fairly sensitive. I feel like I can't say too much because it's kind of gonna give stuff away. But basically, he notices a lot of things. He's very detail-oriented. He notices there's a little creature hiding by Kana's hair. Now, this is the little fairy that Opus gave Kana. This fairy likes to hide in Kana's hair when there's people around. It turns out this is how Kana gets confirmation that the fairy can be seen by other players. And so it's like a game mechanic because no other person can see it. NPCs or Guardian Tower Guardians. Anyways, this is from Opus Ketten Schuttenheimer Ketten Bomber. And apparently, poor Shining Saber and Coral, they had bad experiences with him. But it's fine. As they decide to part ways, they've talked about what they need to talk about, and they still have their own responsibilities. Poor Kana. She's kind of reminded of Opus, who was her partner in crime, someone who taught her a lot about the game, and sometimes it's just like having someone who you've been through so much with. For Shining Saber and Coral, who are in the same guild, they have a bond because they did so many things together. But for Kana, that person was Opus. It's even more heart-wrenching in the light novel because you can tell the author's favorite character is Opus. They do a really good job. And this little fairy is able to sense Kana's upset and it tries to comfort her, but poor Kana and her sadly walking off by herself. But fortunately, she is not going to be like that too long. Kana bounces back quickly. Back to Lopez, who is trying to learn the scroll. He's holding it in his hands. He's reading it. He can understand it. He just can't make it work. Now, Mai is trying to explain to him how the scroll works. And actually, we get a really good explanation here on why it doesn't work for Lopez. So, for players, you put the item in your item box, and then you store the skills, and then you take out the skills that you store to use it. So what it is you put the skill in your item box, activate it, this item becomes part of your skill menu, and then you can use it. For Lopez, who does not have an item box, he literally has no concept or understanding what this could mean. Now, the scrolls also only last 24 hours, so we get a lot of world building here, which makes sense. I do think that the skill scroll explanation is convoluted. It could say that you put it in your item box, activate it, and then you can use the skills. Because the concept of taking out stored skills and using them is a little confusing, but I do think it's just how they choose to word it, because they actually word it the same way in the light novel. Now we're in volume 6. This one's going to be super short. Now, when I was doing volume 6, I forgot that even though I love this cover, and this cover's a little bit of a spoiler, we won't be getting through all of volume 6. There are 2 characters I don't particularly like. I will explain why I don't like them. It is fine, but I will not be showing them very much, and that's why this will be very short, because I actually got really annoyed and irritated by these 2 characters, and I'll explain why. It's just personal. So here we have Kana talking to Coral. Now they're very casual with each other. She is planning on going to this trip based on Coral's information, because Coral actually gave her the location of the next Guardian Tower, rumors about it, and that's why she was willing to trade that information for the skill. Now, Coral is the one who suggests to her, hey, Shining Saber and the team will be going to clean up the bandits. You can tag along with them. Because Kana does not like traveling alone. She can, she just doesn't like to, and that's valid. So Kana does a bunch of things. She goes to check on the Guardian Tower and to visit the remote village before she sets off, because she knows this is going to be another long trip. Turns out the Guardian Tower tells her people have visited the tower, but then they left. And by he meant halfway through. What he meant was they got halfway close to the tower, and then they left. But in the light novel, they do mention that they went up to the entrance, and they were trying to see if they should tackle, and they didn't. So that's why it's kind of confusing. I don't really know. Because here, I would think halfway through is if they tried to approach the tower halfway, and then they just didn't complete the trial. But that's why I think the wording's a little confusing. Anyways, as Kana visits the remote village, she's like, hey, do you have any rooms? And they're like, no, we actually have guests for once. It's fine. We always have a room for you. And she's concerned. She's like, what do you mean you have guests for once? Because Kana's very attached to this inn. Now, this is when Meryl tells them that they have scholars here to study things, because Kana has made a lot of technological advancements for the village. A lot of the technology Kana uses, she considers standard, but it's apparently ancient art magic. Like the well, which has preservation skills, it has a mechanic so anyone can use it. There are people here studying it. Now here we get I think it's very funny, Kana's like, oh, these are the wimps he told me about that ran off. One's a werecat, one is both of them are werecats. Now here we get their levels. This female werecat, she's level 69. She is considered a top adventurer in the country of the south, which is Otoloquis. Now the other one is her brother, level 84. Now, do you guys see the difference in level between these regular top quote-unquote adventurers, as well as Shining Saber and Coral, not to mention Kana at max level 1100. There's a bit of an incident where this werecat, for some reason, she's like, oh my god, we are here because we are super strong, super capable, and we're gonna go tackle the Tower of Wisdom. We have to come back to prepare, but you're welcome to join us and ride on the coattails of our abilities if you want. And Kana's like, no thank you. And she's like, are you sure? This is your reputation on the line here. And I don't understand. I don't understand why it's Kana's reputation on the line if you're begging people to join. And then Kana's like, no, thank you. And you can tell she's just very firm. And the werecat has her moment. She's like, you'll regret this. And I'm very annoyed. You'll find out why I'm annoyed later. I don't even particularly blame this character. I blame a lot of the other people responsible for this. Kana wants to thank the village for all the things that they've done for her, and she wants to feed them. So she's using her cooking skills to feed them cake, which is something that they would never be able to eat because of the sugar and ingredients. But Kana can make it because of her skills, so she's sharing it with the village. This werecat freaks out. She freaks out because of cake. She's like, I will never accept you. How dare you? And her brother drags her away. That's why you see here that the villagers are very upset. They're like, don't you pay them any attention? Because they, at this point, have accepted Kana as their own. They stand for her. I think it's so funny that cake is like her literal breaking point. Now, let me see where it goes next. Okay, so next what Kana does is she brings the cake to Mimily, and she tells Mimily about the situation. Mimily's like, I think she's mixing you up with someone. I think she's upset because you are tainting what she believes to be of this person. And Mimily says she has a similar experience, which we find out she does in the bonus story. But I don't think that's a good enough reason, because Lit says, I would also be mad if someone who looked like Kana but wasn't Kana. And I was like, like, let me think about this here. If there is someone she highly respects, and there is someone else with a similar skill level, and she thinks she's using her abilities, frivolously? And you get so angry that you blow up, cause a commotion. It's like, I don't understand that level of idolatry. And then I thought about it. So I used to have a celebrity crush, and he was from a drama. It was a drama very famous called Meteor Garden. And anytime someone told me, and like this was what happened. It didn't have to be directly. If I saw someone on TV be like, oh yeah, you look like that actor, I'd be like, hell no. Because that particular actor, I've never met anyone who looks like him, and not just met, I've never seen anyone. And it's oftentimes, whenever they say someone looks like him, they look nothing like him, and I would get very upset. And then I thought about it. I was like, oh, this is probably similar to that level of anger she felt, because that's generally how I felt when I was younger. I didn't get in fights with anyone. I didn't go on the internet to fight with anyone. But if I saw it, I'd be like, absolutely not. How dare you? I can laugh about it now, but I think about that, and that's what made me realize. I was like, yeah, she's like immature, but I'm gonna blame the circumstances, and I'll explain a little more later. Calling me old, I get it, I am old. But yeah, that was a drama I grew up with, and I actually had a chance to see them in concert. I didn't take it. I was a little too young back then, but I had a chance to see them in concert. Part of me was like, I wish I could have gone, but then the other part of me remembers how old I was, and I was like, yeah, I wouldn't have enjoyed it. But it's just one of those things, like, I could understand then why you'd be upset when I thought about that. Anyways. Oh, I should mention, oops. What happens is, okay. We skipped ahead. What happened was, the next day, the girl comes back down, and she literally blows up at one of the workers. And the worker gets frightened. And it's the one Kana has here. And Kana steps in and says, hey, you have a problem with me? Don't get them involved. And the girl stomps off and says, I challenge you to a duel, as if she's righteous. Let me just say, even when I got upset, I never thought of fighting someone because of the person I idolized. I guess idolize isn't quite the right. He was just like my celebrity crush. Anyways. It got really intense. So Kana only decides to get involved because she doesn't want the villagers to be affected. Like, this girl is a walking power keg. She is going to blow up. She's already tried to blow it up several times. Kana knows this girl is level 69. Kana is level 1100. That is like when a toddler, a 2-year-old, picks a fight with you. You know that they are a toddler. But once their behavior gets a little out of hand, it starts to become a little unacceptable, you do have to lay down a little discipline. You have to lay down some guidelines. Kana is going to do that. Also, there's a scene I didn't show where her brother says she's gone too far. Please beat her up. And at that moment, I also got really annoyed. I will explain why later, after the next scene, which I have already showed, the fighting scene. Kana, I decided not to show her any of her cool moments because even though I can kind of understand her character now, I still don't really want to spotlight her. I just want to show how Kana is so cool and awesome. You can see Kana has Ki. Ki actually has a barrier it activates, so basic attacks won't hurt Kana because Ki is always keeping watch. There's a lot of implications there. I'm like, how come Ki can use a barrier? It's not explained in the light novel either. They just say Ki can use it because it's connected to Kana's game character, so it can activate things on her behalf and things like that. But Kana, what she does is she basically lets her do, I think, 2 or 3 attacks, and then she blocks them all. And then she uses Ice Wolf Fangs of the Azure Sky, Laguna Bella Giga. It turns these multiple ice spears into one gigantic wolf, and she has to stop just before this girl. Now this girl, once she felt the full force of Kana's intimidate skill and other things, she's already shocked, but she doesn't give up. And I want to say I don't fully blame her because it is her upbringing that is causing her to act this way, and I'll explain more. Kana says, if you keep causing trouble for everyone, I won't hold back. This girl is shocked. She is a top adventurer where she comes from. She's super proud of her skills. And even Ki says, maybe this girl is more known for her, like, annoying self, her annoying personality, than her fighting skills. And Kana agrees. I'm like, damn, Kana is so good-natured. You made her think you were annoying. You messed up. Anyways, I'm gonna call him Dum Dum 1 because the Werecat will become Dum Dum 2. She's a Dum Dum only because she's been spoiled, she's been coddled. She's clearly a little sheltered. And I say a little sheltered because what do you mean you're in a foreign country and you're picking fights with random people? That is very odd to me because you are, number one, representing your country because you're here. She's here as a guard for their country. Researchers. She's representing the country and she's picking fights with random people in another country. Like, that's crazy to me. And then I find out this guy was here on a mission from Kana's niece, Her Majesty Shala Shade, which is another player's foster character. This other player was registered as Kana's sister. Like, they're just friends. They're not really related. Anyways, he sent on a mission to communicate and meet up with Kana. He did not believe the queen when the queen said, hey, my aunt is really powerful. I don't understand this trend if, like, because it's been 200 years, people, I get it. Like, sometimes things are diluted and things are exaggerated, and as stories and things are talked about, you don't get the full effect. But can you imagine someone you highly respect and revere, someone you think is so powerful, says, this is my relative, she is terrifyingly powerful, and you're like, yeah, I mean, you're my queen, but I suppose so, and you don't fully believe her. I don't understand this because I would think if you revered and respected your queen that much, and of course everyone has like a shred of doubt, you aren't going to take things at 100%, but would you really doubt her to the point, and this is where I get really angry, you brought your sister who has attitude problems, who is arrogant, who will pick fights with people. He says earlier in the manga, my sister has always been impulsive. You bring her to another country, you bring her to represent your country on a mission where you were told to make contact with the queen's relative, who is so powerful that the queen herself warned you, and you think bringing someone who would try, like, anger her is a good idea? This is why I didn't blame the Werecat after a while, because I was like, if you had just not been brought on this mission, if you had had someone pull you aside and tell you, hey, you are strong, but there were always going to be people stronger than you, let's not fight them, and let's not pick fights with them for no reason, it would have been different. But no, her brother, instead of actually, like, I don't think it's his responsibility to parent her, but it is his responsibility as the person in charge of this mission and the person who was sent on a covert mission to decide who should and should not be a good fit for this mission. She clearly was not, and he still chose to bring her with her. I feel like this is a setup in order to have her character appear again later. I cannot confirm that because I haven't read that far ahead. But I honestly think he's stupid. I'm sorry. It's why I call him Dum Dum 1. And I'm trying to be not angry, but there's a level of difference here because number one, he's clearly stronger and more mature. And I'm not saying it's his job to parent her, like I said. I'm saying that as the person responsible for this mission, you did not do your job. Because now your sister has been traumatized because you brought her here when she wasn't fit for the job. You have angered Kana because, and I'll show you. Kana finds out that she's related to the queen, and he says, oh, she has nothing to do with it. She's just here as an adventurer. So Kana's like, I'm not going to go to the country. And he gets really offended. He does. He gets a little offended. It's not really fully shown. In the light novel, he is shocked that she would say that. And I'm like, the queen told you she is so strong and to not anger her. Like, that was her number one rule for him. Don't anger her. And you are shocked that she is soured by your country because of the behavior she's seen from you guys so far. And you think that for some reason, after you picked a fight with her and almost caused an incident in this village, that she would just be like, yes, I'll go meet your queen who sent these people here on this mission. You see why I'm currently in a state of suspended belief. Like, I want to show you guys an expression I haven't shown yet. I'm going to show it in another stream. But I'm just flabbergasted that it has logic. Like, why are you the one responsible for this mission? But the queen is a little irresponsible. Like, I finished reading volume 6, and just to refresh myself, and I thought the queen was also a little irresponsible. So it makes sense that the rest of the people she keeps around her is a little irresponsible, because she also is. Like I said, I don't want to blame them. But there is just such a disconnect in logic where I kind of just want Kana to go back and not get involved with future politics because I can already anticipate it's going to be annoying for her. Anyways, Kana isn't even mad here, by the way. Kana is just like, I have a million things to do. The Guardian Towers are more important to me. So she's not like mad, and that's not why she's not going, but she hates the political side of it. So she's like, if I do go, it won't be as the queen's relative. She's only going to go, by the way, if there's a Guardian Tower there. She doesn't think there is a Guardian Tower. I think there might be one to force her to follow the plot. It's a whole thing. Anyways. Yeah, she's very light about it, and Kana actually is very sweet. She's like, you can apologize to your sister for me, because Kana feels like she bullied her, even though this girl was out of line. Like I said, to Kana, this is like a toddler fighting her. Based on like the difference in power level, and Kana originally didn't even want to fight her. If it wasn't because this girl had like almost picked a fight with some of the other villagers, Kana's like, if I don't do something now, she is actually gonna hurt someone. And that's the only reason she does it. The only reason. So that's why she's like, you know what, apologize to her. And Kana says, it's better than her hating me. I don't know. I still think that these werecats are irresponsible. Otoloquist, I've been soured. I don't think it's a good country. What the hell are you guys doing? This is how you guys want to represent your country in another country? Like, I'm not even, like, do you know what I mean? Political international relations? What do you mean? Anyways, you see this warning? She can burn the entire kingdom to the ground in a single day. And this guy was like, oh, I'm not going to believe my queen, who is a user of ancient magic. It's why I got so annoyed. Because he is the leader of this quest, by the way. Even though the queen sent him, and I know he's young. He is fairly young. We find out later on he's young. You were not ready for this responsibility based on who you decide to bring with you. The number one rule of diplomacy is know who to bring with you to represent your country. Anyways, I skipped a couple panels because I didn't want to highlight them too much besides their not very brightness. And by that, it could be inexperience, but I do think a lot of it is also just youthful You know that thing? Okay, this is gonna make me sound old. When you're young, you think you're invincible. You don't truly understand the lessons until you see them for yourself. That is very common in young people. I try not to give him too much flack for it, but I just think it's ridiculous because they revere their queen so much, and I would think that they would take her warning more seriously, but they don't. They don't. Yeah, I'm trying not to be too harsh because, like I said, they are young, and this is something very, very common with young people. And I do think it's also the responsibility of the adults around them who clearly did not teach them or help them or explain or guide them. And maybe they did and it didn't work. I don't know. But basically, they have been failed. Like, their failure of this mission is a failure of the adults around them. The queen for choosing him to be responsible because he clearly wasn't ready for it. The other, because you know there has to be multiple people who okayed this research trip into another country. They failed because they chose to send someone who literally picked a fight, and I don't care if she was your strongest adventurer. She is one of the strongest adventurers in the guild. They should have picked someone else who they felt could better handle this level of diplomacy. Because this is diplomacy. It does not matter that they are young, as long as they are on this mission on another country's soil, representing their country and like guarding the researchers representing the other country. By the way, Fauskilo had to approve Autoliquus researchers to come and study this because it is a matter of technology. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many layers here that all the adults failed them. All the adults failed them, including this irresponsible queen. I say she's irresponsible because she is like 200 years old, and that may be young for elf years, but she is running the country. She's responsible, and she made some irresponsible remarks that I get that she could have made lightly. I don't want to go too much into it because it's spoilers, but she made some irresponsible remarks, and it kind of annoyed me. It really annoyed me. Anyways, we get another little peek at Opus here. Anyways, this is approaching the end of the chapter for today. There we go back to Hauptschner, where Kana is going to visit Carrick because she finds out that the researchers learned about this technology through merchants, and she thinks it's probably Carrick. Now, Carrick and Karina are talking about something. I can't really talk about it because it's spoilers, but they're talking about a different issue when Kana arrives. Now, in the light novel, Kana and Carrick actually reach an agreement about the technology where Kana will supply it, and then Carrick and the researchers he sent to the village will study it, and then they'll spread the technology, and Kana will receive a portion of the profits. I think that's really cute because it's kind of Kana's first time dealing with her family, but because it's her family, she's like, oh yeah, it's fine. And Carrick is like, no, 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 grandmother, I am going to compensate you properly. So there's a lot there. There's also, they will do more collaborations in the future, but it's really funny because Carrick, as cool and calm as he seems, he can basically not hide his emotions in front of Kana. He's like terrified, but also like embarrassed because of like their poor first impression. But it doesn't go into that in the manga. Anyways, Karina tells Kana about the demon bandit leader. We get an update on him. Publicly, he was beheaded. Now, Kana, you can see here, this depicts what I mean. Kana knew it was her responsibility, but she doesn't actually want to take his life. That's why it's such a shock to her, even though she knew. She knew this was a possibility. I don't like that in the What Shall Not Be Named that they made it seem as if Kana was totally okay with it. She wasn't. She wasn't. She knew very well that it would have been taking a life, but she didn't think about it lightly because this kid, who was a kid, had been constantly sending and dealing with other people lightly, and he has taken many lives because he is a player killer. So it's a complicated thing. She doesn't know if he's killed currently any players, but he has attacked and killed quite a few natives of the game of Leadale as it is right now, so it was really tough for her. Anyways, it turns out that they weren't able to actually behead him. The guillotine could not finish his life. Now, Kana has a very interesting thought about players aren't immortal. However, because Kana and other players can see HP bars, to other people, there's no way they could do enough damage to like whittle their HP down because demons also have accelerated HP healing effect. So that's just kind of what happens. It's not that he's immortal, it's just that they can't do enough damage because this guy is level 430. He is a higher level than Shining Saber, which is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Anyways, he's currently doing hard labor. They do show him in the light novel and the manga. They are very consistent on this. Is that he has pretty much been quiet and accepting of his fate. No one really knows because he doesn't talk, but he's just doing labor, doing hard labor for the merchants whose business he disrupted and to make up for the lives that he took when his bandits kept attacking people. Anyways, this is where Karina is able to give Kana some closure about the incident. And as you can see here, she gives Karina head pats because it's her grandchild. Kana wants to give Carrick head pats and then he runs away. I don't remember if he runs away in the light novel, but we get one of my favorite panels here, which is where you can tell like Karina has really like warmed up to Kana and she's like, we would have been your precious little babies. And that's such a great line because it's not in the light novel, but I think it's such a sweet depiction of how much Karina does love Kana. And she recognizes that like they definitely would have been spoiled by Kana. Anyways, that is it for what is being covered today. The stream is a little shorter than usual. I still almost hit 2 hours. It's fine. It's fine. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I guess it's less of a book club, more like I'm recapping. Sorry, it's me reviewing, ranting, and recapping this series. It was kind of tough for me because I realized when I was rewatching the first part of the book club that I tried to write it down, like what I wanted to discuss, but I realized if I don't make the slides, I forget and then I just keep yapping and yapping. I actually cut out quite a few things. There are amazing action scenes in the fight between Kana and like the werecats, sorry. And there's also really great development. I keep saying emotional development, but it is. You really get to see the characters slowly developing their bonds, getting to know each other, and their characters are pretty consistent. I'm really enjoying the depiction so far. The next manga volume comes out in February, so I might do one more book club for In the Land of Leadale. I could continue after that, but we won't have manga to go off of, and I kind of like comparing the manga to the light novel because it kind of gives us two perspectives to discuss it on. So we might do one more book club on In the Land of Leadale, and then might go back to Trash of Accounts Family. The Lout of Accounts Family, which is really the manhwa has picked up, and I think we have enough chapters now to do another book club for that one. What else? Oh yeah. Anyways, I think I'm going to end it here. Now, if you guys are interested, definitely stop by tomorrow. I'll be streaming Mystria and I'll be debuting a new outfit for Mystria streams. Thank you so much for watching, whether you're chatting, lurking, or watching the VOD. As always, remember to drink water, stretch, and take care of yourselves. I'm so excited to be using this new model. And regardless, I don't know, maybe it's because I customized it from like head to toe. It just makes me really happy to see it come to life and like actually use it because I've just been staring at it and editing like the color values and like the different outfit options. But it's really nice to be able to like use it, you know? Anyways, that's it from me today. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I hope I see you guys in the stream tomorrow. Until tomorrow!